The second question is on the theme of Afghanistan. If a future Tory government fails to significantly increase the financial resources available to the Ministry of Defence, will continued participation in the Afghan conflict be prioritised above the long-term health and capability of Her Majesty's forces, and for what strategic gain? That question is from Arse forum user Straightjacket.
Well, of course, the question implies that Afghanistan somehow is disconnected from the long-term strategic interests of the UK, which is not something I would accept. I think we need to remind ourselves why we're in Afghanistan. And we're there basically for two reasons. We're there to stop Afghanistan being used as a base from which terrorism can be planned and launched. And secondly, we've got to stop the horrible spectrum of the collapse of Pakistan. And if anybody actually believes that China or India or the United States would stand by and watch Pakistan's nuclear weapons falling into the hands of the Pakistan Taliban or similar groups, then I think they're very badly mistaken. So there's a clear national security imperative. If we fail to deal with the problem there, not only would we see an upsurge in transnational terrorism, but it would also be a signal to every anti-Western interest that we didn't have the moral resolve to see it through. Now, having said that, we need to be very clear and consistent with our message. We are there to ensure that we degrade the terrorist threat and the Taliban threat to levels that then become manageable by the Afghan security services and the Pakistan security services. There are a lot of noble aims in Afghanistan in the wider issues of governance and democracy and education and so on, but they are not the primary reasons why we're there. So we've got to be very clear to the public what are the military reasons for being there, what are our military objectives, and how will we know that we've been successful, and on the other hand, what are the long-term reconstruction policies. There is only one justifiable reason for sending your armed forces into combat, and that is a national security reason, not a humanitarian reason. And I think that we need to be very clear in Afghanistan about that. So it has to be the priority, because that is where we see the most obvious threat at the present time. That doesn't mean it's the only threat. And we also, in the defence review, will have to look at other areas where we will face different threats in the future, including, for example, cyberspace. So getting a balance between them and maintaining generic defence capabilities to adapt to changing threats in the future is what a future Conservative government's policy will be all about.